Hello, this is Laura Robinson from the Chattanooga Area Food Bank, and I am going to walk you through the process for bagging up produce and weighing it and then taking it up to the warehouse where it will be distributed. So I'm not going to go through how to actually harvest things because there's just too much variety in the garden to go through each thing one by one. Basically, if you're here and you need to know what to harvest, you kind of just have to walk around to each individual bed, see what's growing, and you can always look up, just search, if it's kale, when to harvest kale, and you can find information. I think a lot of it is self-explanatory. If you see big leaves, for instance, on the kale, it probably is ready to be harvested. A lot of things you would harvest just a couple of leaves from a plant. You wouldn't harvest the whole plant. Whereas, maybe a head of lettuce, you would harvest the whole thing. But that really just comes down to like looking in the bed, seeing what's growing, and just looking it up. So I want to go just walk you through what you do once you have harvested and get the produce inside. Real quick, usually what I do to harvest is I just take one of these red baskets that sits by the front door and a pair of trimmers and go out and just harvest that way. That's just kind of the easiest way to get things back inside. So I'm just going to use this as an example. Let's say you went out and harvested these honey nut squash. Come inside. In general, I do not wash things before I bag them up because it just kind of can leave things kind of slimy as it gets transported and given away. So unless things look really bad or you look on the back of a leaf and there's a bunch of aphids or insects or something along those lines, then I would wash it and then try to dry it as well as you can. But once you kind of get to the point where you're ready to bag things up, we need to weigh everything and then put them in bags and put them in this produce log. So that's what there will be some sort of notebook sitting here by the scale that we need to put in the total amount of weight for each item. So you can see this, it weighs 1 pound. And basically, I just need to know the total weight of all things that are harvested for that certain item. So let's say I had 20 of these honey nut squash and it weighed 10 pounds. I would just need the total here listed, and you can see there's also the date. So just list the date that you harvested, the item, and then the total amount of weight. And then basically you just need to bag it up and think about what a family of 4 would eat in a week. So this is totally subjective, but like if I had a whole bunch of honey nut squash, I would probably put 4 in each bag. If I had pounds and pounds of greens typically get cooked down. Maybe I would put a pound of greens in each bag. But it's just kind of eyeball it. There's no real right or wrong answer. But there are multiple bags that you can put things in. And the bags are kept down here. They're the Ziploc bags, and then these are the bread bags. So you just basically pick depending on the size of the item. A lot of times I will write on the outside of the bag what it is and if there are any specific cooking instructions. So take tomatoes, for example. I don't think pretty much everyone knows what a tomato looks like. I don't think you really need to put anything on the bag. However, if it's something like honey nut squash or something that people might not be so familiar with, I do write on the outside of the bag with a Sharpie, and I put what it is, and then I'll put, for honey nut squash, I would say cut in half, scoop out seeds, and roast. Something just simple to give people an idea of what to do with it. And then in terms of like picking what bag works best, These long bread bags are good for greens and other things that get really big that are hard to bag up in using the Ziploc bags, but they do break easily, or they do tear. So if you have anything like really sharp and pointy, it will tear through this bag. It's also harder to write on here, although I still do try to write what the item is, if necessary. Okay, so then after you get everything bagged up, that's usually, depending on how much you harvest, that could kind of take a while to get everything weighed, bagged up, make sure the totals are written in the notebook. And then I don't have it listed, I don't have it here because just for security reasons, but there will be an orange sticky note here that will give you the code to get into the warehouse. So once everything is ready to go to the warehouse, I'll just show you from here, and hopefully you will actually, let me go outside. So you'll go to this back door. Maybe I can even zoom in. Okay, so that back door of the warehouse that says donation drop-off agency, sometimes I can't read that. There is a little keypad to the left of that door, and that's where you'll use the code that I just mentioned. And you will just walk basically straight in. You'll see a desk to your left, and you'll see a scale. So if nobody is sitting at the desk, you can just leave things on the scale. It's just like a big gray kind of flat surface, and I think you'll see it. It's next to the desk. So just look next to the desk. It should be pretty much, if you walk in that door, straight ahead of you, veer slightly to the left, and you'll see it. And basically you just leave it there, and then the guys in the warehouse take care of it from there. So that is basically my high-level overview of the process for documenting the weight that comes out of the garden. Thank you. Bye-bye.